What's up, what's up, what's up, good people? Welcome to another episode of Whatever We Want with J and K. She is K. Khalilah Elliott.
And he is J. Jamal Sterling.
Chill vibe mood today.
No, I'm exhausted because I don't know where I am or where I'm going state today.
It shows itself as a midnight love voice that she's using. So all the fellas out there, you want to hear the sultry, soothing sounds of Khalilah Rashay Elliott.
Khalilah after no sleep.
Khalilah after no sleep.
Oh, man. Exhaustion. What's going on, homeboy? Oh, my God. I'm exhausted.
Okay. You are exhausted, and I'm exhausted for a different reason. Today, you probably already know this because of the internets. Today was one of my homeboys treated me to go see the Detroit Lions versus the Dallas Cowboys. For those who don't know, I live in Dallas, Texas, but I'm a... And
you're a sad Detroit Lions fan.
I went to the game. My boy got us down. Mr. Brian Pitts, good shout out. Went down on the field, like literally could see my Lions real close. Got to talk a lot of trash, and then immediately got murdered.
What was the final score of the game?
I think the final score ended up being, I think I want to say 21-6, something like that. It was closer than it seemed.
Y'all got beat by the Cowboys.
Yeah. And the Cowboys fans, they have no grace about them whatsoever.
Right. Well, because they've been losing so terribly for the last 2-3 seasons. So
Cowboys fans, she said that. I did. I want the heat. I don't care.
And I meant it. And
I'm wearing my T-shirt for those who can't see me on the internet. We almost always win, which is my Detroit Lions shirt.
Chicago Bears, as a Chicago Bears fan, as my great grandmother would say, I feel your care.
One more thing to add for the old school listeners of our show. Everybody's been asking for us to drink again on the show. Well, today, ladies and gentlemen, I am a bit lit because when you're losing that much, I drank a whole bunch of Jack and Cokes, and I had a whiskey, vodka cranberry. So I'm feeling good and feeling right. And I'm probably going to be canceled today, so it's all good.
Look, so between me being exhausted and you being a little bit lit, this is going to be an interesting episode.
It's going to be makes for some very interesting work today.
Well, I would say I'm sorry to hear that your Lions lost, but you and I both know that I would be lying if I said that. So, 100%. But I will say you have my sympathies. You have my sympathies today. So I. For our audience, part of the reason I'm exhausted is I've been traveling a lot for work, and I just left New York and was supposed to go back home to Dallas, but have a last minute meeting that I have to take with a client. So I had to come straight to Atlanta. So all this traveling, Jamal, I have been having interesting experiences, like staying at different hotels, different Airbnbs, having very different experiences.
Right.
And one of the things that I have observed, and I'm curious to know if you had this experience and if our audience has had this experience, is, okay, so when you meet another Black person, particularly when you go into an environment where there are very few of us, maybe you're only the only one, even if it's just like I'm going into the gas station, right? If I see another Black person, there is, it's the inferred nod, right? Like
the brother nod, the brother sister nod. Like,
right. Even if we don't do the nod, it's internal, right? It's like, I see you, you see me. We're in a space where there's only us. I'm going to acknowledge you, right?
Right.
So that's one, right? The second thing is I have observed, and I'll be honest in saying not solely, mostly I've observed this from our Black brothers and sisters who are not from the States, is this deference to white people over Black people. And I want to give you a specific example.
Okay.
So I've been traveling. I stayed in a hotel in New York. I won't name the hotel. It was a nice hotel. It was a really great price in the theater district in Times Square. Honestly, it was a steal, truthfully.
She I got the address is this. Sorry.
I'm not going to tell them about it. Look. Oh no, but there are plenty of hotels. It'll take a minute to figure this one out. But anyway, so I get to the hotel. I get there, and immediately when I walk in, so there's a sister behind the desk, and it's a boutique hotel, right? So I am making it much more easy for people to figure out which hotel it is. But there's a sister
it's
sitting behind.
more and more narrow.
People are like, Google boutique hotel Times Square. Well, I mean, hey, I didn't name the name. But anyway, so boutique hotel, so it's very small, right? So I come in, and there's clearly a guest who's checking out. So I hang back for a second or what have you. But when I walk up initially, the Black woman, the sister sitting behind the desk, puts her hand up. That's how she acknowledges me. Oh, I'm sorry. There wasn't a person there. She was on the phone. She puts her hand up. She doesn't acknowledge me. She doesn't say, like, give me the finger, like, wait a second, or I'll be right with you. No kind of, it literally is put up her hand like I'm almost bothering her, right? So she finishes her phone call. And then she turns to me and says, I'm sorry. Now, how can I help you? So, Jamal, you know me. So, first of
Black
all,
woman faux pas 101. Go ahead.
101. Well, first of all, I've been up since 4 a.m. So I'm really not here for this. That's number one. I've been traveling left and right. I'm exhausted, right? So I have managed to make my way from the airport to here. And this is what I met with. Okay. So she says, oh, have a seat. I don't want to stand because now I'm pissed, honestly. But also I'm tired and I'm not here for this. And my thing is, if I sit, this is going to take longer than necessary. So
right.
No, I'm fine. I'm fine to stand. I've been sitting all day, so it's fine. So she hems and haws and whatever. Long story short, she gives me my room, gives me my key. I get upstairs to the room, and immediately I'm in a room that has an adjoining another room adjoining.
The strange door. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I'm a woman who's traveling by myself. I know that the doors have locks on them, but I don't care because hotel staff have access to things. People can, I don't want to give any potential opportunity for one more way for somebody to access me.
Right.
So I normally, when I'm staying by myself, I always, if that happens, I usually request to be moved. That happened recently at another hotel, and I asked to be moved, and they moved me with no problem. So when I called down, and I did it immediately, like literally got in the room, observed it, called down and said, hey, and was really polite about it, even though I was annoyed, was really polite, was like, hey, no big deal. The room is nice. Everything is great. I appreciate where you put me and everything. And I was like, however, it's an adjoining room. And as a woman traveling by myself, I don't really feel comfortable being in a room like that. Do you all happen to have another room available? First of all, she's annoyed at my request. Okay. Annoyed. She takes a deep sigh. I can hear her clacking away on her. Yeah, I'm about to read. Yeah, sorry, y'all. This whole episode, the first 10 minutes of this episode is me. I have to get this off my chest. It's bothering me so much. So anyway, so I hear click, clacking on the keys, right? So she's like, well, I don't think I have anything available tonight. We're booked solid. She doesn't say it as nicely as I'm saying it, right? She's very curt. And I say, okay, no worries. I understand. It is last minute. She does say, however, you know what? We have guests checking out tomorrow. So if you want to move tomorrow, we can probably move you. I say, you know what? That's perfect. I can hang tight for a night. No problem. And then she says, I'll send security up. And I was like, okay, I didn't ask for her to send security up, whatever. Security comes in. He looks around. He's like, well, the door's locked. I was like, yeah, I'm aware the door is locked, and I know the door. I know how doors work, sir.
Right.
That was not my issue, right? So
it's a room preference issue, right.
Absolutely. So anyway, fast forward, all week long. So I'm there I was there for a week, right? So all week long, I'm coming in and out of the hotel. There are other people who are working there, other staff. When they see me, they're nice, they're polite, they engage me. We have nice little conversations every single time I pass the front desk. That's where this woman is. And y'all, this is not one of those hotels where it's like, the hotel, the desk is back off in the corner where maybe they didn't see you. I literally can't get off the elevator bank without somebody seeing me.
Right.
So I'm noticing throughout the whole week the difference in her interactions with her white customers and me. And part of it is, I often wonder, I do believe that a lot of times people make assumptions about us as Black people, like we can't afford to be in certain places, we shouldn't be in certain places, XYZ, XY,
Right.
But I also do feel like there is a class of Black folks. And I don't even mean the conservative folks, the weirdos like Kanye and all them other folks, but there is a class of Black folks who seem to go out of their way to pull back from Blackness and to lift up whiteness. Like
the Clarence Thomases of the world, but go ahead.
Yes. So anyway, and I also will be candid in saying, especially living in New York, I have noticed that a lot of times our brothers and sisters who are not from here they look down on us a little bit. Not, of course, this is a generalization, y'all, obviously. But I'm just saying the treatment of like, you dirty black people versus, oh, here are these nice white people. It just has been, I don't know. I'm just curious to know, have you had that experience now that I've rambled for 10 minutes?
I'm trying to think. I have had the experience of, I've had it in both ways. This is probably a reverse way. At SMU, I used to go to Southern Methodist University in Dallas, Texas, a notoriously super white space. But in this super white space, there was a Kentucky Fried Chicken right across the street, and 3 of the most hood black women ever worked in there, and they made it a point to give every white person who walked in there the business. Like, right. it was hardcore. So my class was all white except for me. It was the joke that I would have to go and order the food because they're like, "What you want, baby?" Like, it was immediately, "What you want, baby?"
They're giving you emotional reparations.
Right. And then other ones walk out like, "Just a minute." Don't get extra
seriously.
Biscuit. But I'm saying,
go ahead. Sorry.
But in the reverse, I have experienced the, walking into a store and being followed around, walking into a store, and the assumption that if I'm wearing a jogging suit as opposed to the white guy wearing a jogging suit trying to go get a suit.
Which honestly, listen, we're black in America. I anticipate that foolishness.
Right. That happens. It happens all the time. Right.
But I do expect when I see other black folks to be given the benefit of the doubt. Like, it just got off with me that immediately when I walked in, because I knew if I was a white woman walking in off the street, she wouldn't have dealt with me like that. And I just was like, come on, sis. Like, I'm paying as much as these people are. And so then I feel the need.
You got a coupon.
Right. But then I feel the need. I pull a Whitley Gilbert, and those different world fans will appreciate this. The episode where she goes, the lady doesn't think she can afford something. So she starts buying all this stuff. So I'm pulling out my Amex because I was like, I'm not going to bring out my Visa. I'm going to bring out my big girl credit card. I'm seeing her like, this is so silly. I don't have to prove anything to this lady. I have a room here. I am a customer. She should be treating me well. But so I don't know.
This is like my mother, when I was 15 years old, and we went to a Foot Locker to get just a bag of socks. That's all we went to go get is a bag of socks. So my mom walks in there. There's 3 dudes walking in there, like 2 black dudes, 1 white dude. My mom walks to the dude's like, "Yeah, we need a bag of socks." And he dude's like, "Yeah, just go talk to that dude over there. He'll take care of you." And my mom was like, "Word?" And she looked at me. She was like, "What you want?" And I was like, I'll take some Air Force Ones. She said, "What you really want?" I was like,
"Oh Lord, Cynthia French man.
I'll take those Jordans over there." She said, "Cool. What else?" So by the end of that, it was like an $800 trip. Like she just buying everything off the wall, and the black dude's all mad, and this white dude done made all his money. Because my mother was like, "Why is our people gonna treat us like this?" Yeah, I feel you.
Right. Like I said, I'm not somebody who expects, because I'm black, you're gonna treat me special. But I do feel like, hey, we in a space where it's just us. I'm going to acknowledge you, and I would like a little acknowledgement back. Right. But it just didn't sit right with me. So, but otherwise, I had a great time in New York.
Was this also what you just said right here is the vein of what I want to talk about next?
What's that?
An article I saw on the Griot, which did strike me. I was watching this in the news the other day. From Stacey Abrams to Val Demings, the angry black woman trope finds its way into election debates. Now, I don't know if you've seen. Val Demings had a debate with little Marco Rubio, and for those who know Marco Rubio, he has no spine whatsoever. He is literally a jellyfish. And Val Demings is a strong black woman who's running against him right now, and it's going to be rough. Most likely Marco Rubio will win, but Val Demings went in. I'm talking about Nas on Ether. I'm talking about I'm talking about LL Cool J against cannabis back in the day. Went in. It is for those who've ever watched.
Once you said Nas Ether, that's all I needed to know. Right there.
If you ever watched the Casino and saw when Joe Pesci got beat down, this is the type of going in that Val Demings went. She left nothing to be left of this man, incinerated. But then, of course, we know what happened next. The media immediately goes into, and especially conservatives went into, the angry black woman stereotype. That she's too rough, she's too hard, she's too rude. But like, if you're the Donald Trumps of the world who say he's rude and horrible and harsh,
you're a straight chaser. You're like you talked about this last week or the week before about Brett Favre. Yeah,
but it's amazing to me how this just keeps this stereotype keeps happening over and over again. So Val Demings, who clearly murdered Marco Rubio in this debate, is now answering for her tone, not her message, which is something that we don't ask of other people, but we always ask this of black people, especially black women. Your thoughts?
Well, my you know what my thoughts are. My thoughts are.
It's a softball here.
Right. You're like, just lob this ball. This is I mean, you and I have talked about this on this show and, privately in our lives. I was not someone who it was not something I was cognizant of, but I came to realize, like most Black folks who are working in professional environments for extended period of times, that I code switched. I wasn't aware of that. I just, you assimilate, you adjust to the environment that you were in. But one of the things in coming out of the corporate environment, and also honestly coming out of New York and not feeling the pressure of, because when you're in New York, everybody is hustling. So there is always this feeling of you got to make it, right? And you don't want to be the one to stand out, ironically. But I got to the point where I was like, I'm not code switching. Like, I'm very intentional now to catch myself going and I want to be clear. It's not that you're not yourself, but it's that you tone down or water down who you are because of who your audience is. And I decided I'm not doing that anymore. And I think that honestly, a lot of Black folks, in particular Black women, in the last 2 or 3 years have thrown off all their shackles. I think you can hear a lot of folks talking about decolonizing and what have you, just and ceasing to code switch, because people are tired of not being able to be their full authentic selves because of exactly this, right? So when we hear that, we know what it is. Like, as you said, it's a dog whistle to their base to say, because they can't say what they want to say, this big black mammy and all the other stuff that they want to say, right? So they disguise it as angry Black woman. They did the same thing to Michelle when Barack was running for president. They did the same thing to Shirley Chisholm back in the 70s when she first ran. So it is what they do. It's what make know. And so my thing is that narrative is always going to be there. So to some extent, one of the things that I think was great about Kamala's campaign that she did well was to lean into that a little bit. Like, you know what? Yeah, I'm a badass bitch. Pardon my language. But maybe that's what we need to do. Because to your point, when white boys do it, no offense, but it's all good. It's all, he's a cowboy, he's a straight shooter. So I'm like, what's good for the goose at this point? No, do what you got to do, sis. Right,
man. And to even extend it, just saying, like, this happened to Hillary Clinton. Quite honestly,
yes,
it happened to Hillary Clinton, and like her being coarse and being rude. And I'm sitting up here like, yeah. Meanwhile, this dude is dropping F-bombs behind us and talking about grabbing women by all types of parts.
Exactly.
But it's this double. But I just want to give love to, like, first of all, you know me. I try to surround myself with strong women, especially strong Black women. That's what I do.
Yes, you do.
And so, like, and I because I'm a glutton for pain, I love the interaction. I love.
But you know what? But it's not that you're a glutton. I mean, maybe you are a little bit. Maybe a little bit. I'll give you that. We do beat up on you pretty good.
Right.
there might be. You might have some kind of fetish that may.
Yeah, it's a bit of a. I was about to say it's a bit of a fetish. It's a thing. I'm not gonna lie.
But what I will say is I also think it's more of a, in the Bible, it talks about iron sharpeneth iron. We were talking about this not too long ago. I think it's that. I think that you surround yourself with smart, strong women who are about something and who are not for the foolishness. And because that's who you are and how you move in the world, I think you appreciate, and also because you were raised around women like that, right? So for you, that's the default of what women are, is people who take care of the business, people who are taking care of things and handling stuff. So when you see women who are like, don't know how to figure out how to do things, you're like, this is not normal, right? That's not your baseline. So I think that's what it is. Yeah.
It's dope.
Yeah, for sure.
I have another thing. This is slightly off topic. This ain't on the list.
I'm so glad. Look at you driving us today. Drive this bus.
Once in a while I wake up. I had a little alcohol.
You got it, friend. Do it.
I think I've kind of talked about this before, but I want to talk about this more explicitly, just because it's come up a whole lot recently. And it's about letting people have access to your energy, letting people have access to your circle. And the differences between, like, I've had a lot of arguments with friends and stuff about the level of being fake or the level of allowing people into your inner circle. Now, me and you talked about this a lot personally, like, people I allow into my house, or people that I allow into my inner circle, or the people that just, I see them at a party and it's cool and it's what's up, but it's not like inner peace. I feel like a lot of times people view that as fakeness, and I view it as, this friendship stuff has levels, especially as you get older. And it's important that you find a strong, what are you talking about, Jamal? What I'm talking about is, it is important that you value yourself. You find values in yourself, and your circle reflects those values.
For sure.
And you shouldn't invite all those energies into your circle. Everybody's not allowed. Everybody should not be allowed into your realm.
Yeah.
And as you get older, in this game, you start to learn, okay, oh, no, you are a person who I can go around the block with you. You can come into my house,
Yeah.
And I think there's something to be said in your life about really taking your time and measuring those people and measuring who you want in your world. And that doesn't mean those people are bad. It just means that it's not for you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess I put that out as a statement, but like your feelings on that as far as
you're spot on. I mean, the thing is, I guess it's Sunday, so I'm doing all my Bible references today. But in the Bible, it talks about inner court and outer court. Like, you're not supposed to bring everybody into your inner court, right? Like, that's your most sacred. That's temple. That's where everything goes down. And I feel that's both your physical home, but also your personal, internal being, your spirit, and as you said, like the energies that people rock with, and me, I'm very protective of my energy and how people roll. So I think it is, you hit the nail on the head. There are layers to this. There are levels and layers to this, right? So I can be super cool with somebody, but they might not be the type of person I'm going to hang out with, right? I can be super chill with you, and maybe you're somebody I can hang out with, but I wouldn't travel with you, right? So there are levels to this. So I think that's absolutely the case, and I do think that there's often this issue where people don't recognize, one, where they sit in other people's lives, and where other people should sit in their lives. Because I will be honest in saying I was letting a lot of people who shouldn't have been in my inner courts, who should have been at the gate. Because you want to believe that people have good intentions. But after people show you who they are, you got to back up and be like, I got to make some decisions, close this gate.
I think that's exactly what I'm talking about. It's like how you, this feeling that you have to, like, adjust to other people and make them, and the thing is, like, no, you don't.
And you don't have to hold on a relationship just because they've been there long or you're related to them. No, we can flow and ebb in different ways, and maybe it will change in another few years, but in this season, it is what it is.
Right. And the thing is, and honestly, at the same time, I think I said it at the beginning, that does not mean that person's bad. It just means that they're not right for you at the moment.
Absolutely.
So I had a friend always talking about, like, you should have people in your circle who definitely, first of all, make you smile, but secondly, are about elevating you, that celebrate you.
For sure. Yep.
And a lot of people got these people. I've had so many conversations the last 2 weeks in particular about people who are so worried about what other people think about their lives. And my thing is,
I can't do it.
Yeah, and my thing is, like, I'll in all honesty, in my 20s and early 30s, I was one of those people. And now the fucks that I don't give.
I'm telling you,
it's amazing because
you have so few.
Right.
As your wife like to say, we got so many of these fucks. How many we gonna give out?
Right.
And I'm not giving mine out for no food.
Right. And like, I'm notorious. You know me. I'm notorious. Like, if I feel like I've done somebody wrong, that's another thing. But once I figured out I haven't done you wrong, man, get the fuck up out of here.
And also, I will say, you have the patience of Job. Your wife, your brother, we have told you plenty of times. We're like, yeah, you need to let that go. It couldn't be me, but you have such a generous and gracious heart. So my thing is, if you get to, and again, to your point, this is not saying people are bad, but if you get to the point where you're like, yeah, I'm not gonna be rocking with that person, that's not a decision you came to lightly. Like, you don't just pull back out of nowhere. Like, that's not how you roll. So
my general tendency, unfortunately, is that, like, fortunately or unfortunately, is I over-examine myself. Like, what did I do? But once the moment happens and I figure out it wasn't me,
once you figure it out,
peace.
That Aries kicks in. Like, I'm burning all this shit.
I'm out. Fuck you,
like
motherfucker.
Angela Bassett and Wayne Tail lighting the match and walking away. Yeah, that's man. No, but I think you hit the nail on the head. There is, and what's so interesting is I always felt like I had a reverse adolescence, because when I was a teenager growing up, I never felt peer pressure. When people were having sex and doing drugs, I never felt peer pressure. Like, literally never thought that anybody could make me or influence me in any way.
Right.
When I was in my mid to late 20s, and I didn't have a lot of friends outside of my church group, and I had just pledged Delta, I actually did go through what I felt like was a reverse adolescence, where I was, to your point, I was being influenced by people, and I cared what they thought, and I, you know, and I didn't like how that felt, because that's not my natural disposition, right?
Right.
So after a couple of years of being in that energy, I was like, no, this is not how I'm built. I'm not built to care about what people think of me. Like, I'm just not. Right. And I don't mean that to say I dismiss people who I care about. If you said, and you know this, good friends can check you. Good friends can weigh in. They can say, hey, what's going on with that?
We do it to each other all the time. We do it to each other all the time.
And
right.
To your point, in your friend circle, there you should have people who are going to exhort you and praise you and cheerlead for you. You need people who are going to pull your tailcoat and say you when you out of pocket and when you out of line. You need somebody who's, like you said, doing things that you aspire to do. If everybody looks the same, how we elevate?
Right.
You know.
Right.
So
right. That's for real.
No, we're on the same page with that one, brother. Oh Lord. I did want to bring up something. Have you heard about this new Jeffrey Dahmer Netflix series?
Oh man, I keep hearing about it over and over and over again. Yeah.
So let me bring our audience up to speed. So there is a series on Netflix. I don't even know the name of it, but I guess it's about Jeffrey Dahmer.
I think it's called Dahmer.
I was gonna say, yeah, there you go. I knew it was something simple. So show Dahmer is on Netflix. The show was co-created by Ryan Murphy of Nip Tuck and American Horror fame, as well as Glee, and his producing partner Ian Brennan. And Evan Peters, y'all, I'm sorry, I'm struggling today. Evan Peters stars as Jeffrey Dahmer in the series. So the show has been met with a lot of controversy. It came out on the platform and was right out the gate the #1 series on the platform. It's continuing to break records, and people are watching it and streaming it. A lot of the controversy around the film is, one, the families whose loved ones were murdered by Jeffrey Dahmer were not consulted. They weren't even warned that the film was coming out. In one scene in the movie, it is literally an exact word-for-word reenactment of a speech that the sister of Errol Lindsay gave during the sentencing. So all of these different things that are part of these people's lives, that this incredibly traumatic experience that happened to them. And where I'm going with this is part of the controversy is the way in which the audience has responded, like almost the idolization of both Evan Peters in the role and then Jeffrey Dahmer himself, people attempting to buy costumes like him. eBay actually just banned the sale of the costume on their site, and Simone Biles made a comment saying, hey, if you're about to try and wear Jeffrey Dahmer costume for Halloween, don't. So I'm curious to know your thoughts. And I will say the other controversy that people have said, of course, most of, if not all of Dahmer's victims were Black and brown people, Black and brown men. And so a lot of the feeling is not only for the sake of the families involved, but this idea of if his victims had been, blonde white women, that we would not be so easy to feel comfortable making light, so to speak, of the reality of what he did to these people. So I'm curious to know your thoughts about this controversy.
I have a few thoughts. Number one, I'm not a big fan of Ryan Murphy. I've not been. I find most of his work exploitive. Nip Tuck being one of those things, which is like, it's very shock jockism, for lack of a better word. I don't speak specifically about Nip Tuck, and I forgot the other show. I don't know about Glee. I didn't watch Glee, but the other show you mentioned.
Your
American Horror Story
assessment is accurate. I will say, I usually watch the first 2 seasons of his shows. The first seasons are always great, and then it declines immediately because of exactly what you just said. Right. It becomes, how can I shock people? And right. Exactly.
And I think the miscalculation that he met was not really delving into these people's lives, these human beings' lives. So like, right. I think of something like what do you call it? When They See Us, which was like, it showed some horrible things, but it was such a deep exploration of the lives of these people that there's a balance to it, It reminded me of I don't know if you remember there was a scandal a long time ago when I was younger with Guns N' Roses. They covered a Charles Manson song, and there were these T-shirts going around with people wearing T-shirts with Charles Manson's face on it, and not realizing in full context who Charles Manson was and the horrible shit he did,
Right.
So I think there's that part. There's the part where you don't really do your homework and really delve in. It's lazy dramaturgy, for lack of a better
word. Right.
The other part of it is that I don't know if we were ready, that because the story has not been fully fleshed out of how this man literally went after the black community. And alarms were being rang all over the place.
I was going to say, honestly, it's just another perfect example of systemic racism. How systemic racism continues to kill us, like quite literally.
Real talk.
His neighbors were calling in saying
this dude would have been stopped way earlier if he was killing white people. It's seriously that simple.
Yep, that's it.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. Here's the sad thing is that it's something, I always lean towards the dark stuff. I love the Silence of the Lambs and stuff like that. This is something that I would have watched if it was done better,
Right. So, yeah. And honestly, like when I saw it, I mean, you know me, there are certain things I'm not interested in general, but my immediate reaction when I first saw that it was coming out, I was like, because again, it hasn't been that long ago. These were real people. It was just very sensational. And to your point, I know Ryan Murphy's work, so I just felt like right out the gate, I was like, I'm pretty sure I'm not gonna be here for it. And true to form, the reaction and the response from most audience members, or at least the ones that I would trust, have been similar to that.
People always get caught. They just get caught up. I'm sorry, but people just get caught up in the
you're fine.
It's fake drama. It's fake. Yeah. This is sensationalized, but that doesn't necessarily mean that it's good writing and good work.
Right. It's the true crime thing. People want the true crime feel, but it's like all true crime is not great.
Right.
Right. If you want to watch some really great fictional true crime, go watch Only Murders in the Building. That's fantastic.
I still need to watch that. There's like 45 billion shows I need to watch. But.
Yeah, they've actually just I think they signed on for it. They got announced they were having a third season. Speaking of which, randomly, because I know I'm gonna forget because my brain is not wired to not forget today. I'm determined I'm going to forget everything. Not determined. We're gonna have to cut this because I'm exhausted and I'm rambling.
Keep this part in.
I don't know where I was going. What was I talking about?
You said you didn't want to forget, and you're literally forgetting right now.
Oh. I was saying that they announced that there was. I know, right? We definitely need to keep this in. Keep this in for sure.
Lee, keep this in. Keep it in.
Keep it in. So where I was going was. Okay, I didn't want to. Okay, the third season of Only Murders in the Building. Do you know that they just Jamal is dying, y'all? They just announced that P Valley has been announced that they're getting a season 3.
Shout out to the homeboy Nathaniel Nico Anand, ladies and gentlemen. Hashtag Detroit original getting another work.
We gotta get him on this show, Jamal. We gotta get him on.
I'm gonna talk to him. I just want to borrow $20. That's it. But Nico is like Nico's been a real one since day one. Like literally, it is hard for human beings, especially of the LGBTQ community, Q plus community, living their truth. And Nico Anand, I'm not gonna say your whole government name, you don't get mad at me. Nico Anand, and for all you want to say about Nico has lived in his truth since the first day I met him. The dude you see right now is just an evolved person of the young man when he was 18.
Somebody who knows himself and does not care what other people think, as we just got through talking about.
Real talk. I wish I had that much self-knowledge when I was his age.
Yeah.
But this is one picture of talk about Nico now. There's one picture of Nico that he posted once in a while of when he was a little kid. It's like a little kid in the 70s. He's like 4 years old, 5 years old. And the sass that this boy had in his Lord, that little boy is Nico to.
What's funny is on the show when his grandmother is introduced, Loretta Devine plays his grandmother, and when she's introduced to, I won't spoil it for folks who haven't seen, but long story short, she makes this comment that his character Uncle Clifford came out she literally says, sorry y'all, he came out the coochie switcher. And they both go back and forth. He's like, he's always lived his truth. So I love that. That's
but
awesome.
The brother, like he's honestly, ever since we was young, like he's my big brother. He took care of me. He always looked out for me. He always calls me. Like he always used to call and check on us and stuff like that. He's a genuinely good dude, and I'm glad.
It's so nice when you see good people getting success. It's just really nice to see that happen.
I'm glad.
And it's a great show. Like I said, Katori Hall's writing is always dope. It continues to be dope. So I'm excited to see what will happen when they come back with season 3. Speaking of which, you mentioned that you all went to school together. So I was in New York this week, and did you know I saw a Tony Award winning Best Musical that was written by a Cass Tech alum.
Ooh.
I didn't know that is. He look, Michael R. Jackson, who wrote Strange Loop, I believe,
with the Cass. I had no idea.
Let me say this: his character, which the play is based on. So I'm googling it as we speak, y'all. Before we got on here,
deep research.
But in the show, he's from Detroit. He went to Cass Tech. So in the show, his character, or the character based on him, literally says, I'm this fat black guy, fat black queer man and I went to Cass Tech, and I was like literally, I'm in the audience going, Cass Tech, I know what it is. And I was like,
that's how we do.
Detroiters for way too long. So I did see the show. It was interesting. I would love to talk about it with some other folks who've seen it, to hear their opinions on it. But it was an interesting experience. But
me and Nicole tried to see it. It was sold out when we went. But yeah.
Oh, really? Oh, yeah. So it's closing in January. So I was able to get in there and see it. So I was happy for that. I also got to go see Sam Jackson and John David Washington doing the piano lesson.
What'd you think?
Sam is a beast.
Yeah.
Sam is a beast. Yo, I will say I went on Tuesday evening. Tuesday nights are always hard because, quite frankly, you got older audiences.
You're coming back from
white audiences who don't necessarily get all the black colloquialisms, you know what I mean?
Right.
So it was definitely, the audience loved it, but they were a more subdued crowd. And so, as an artist, as a performer, you draw on that energy, right? So if the crowd is chilling in, it can pull down. And so what I felt was John David was good. He was solid. But what I will say, I read or watched an interview he did with CBS Sunday Morning, right? Maybe a week before the show opened. And he was saying his mom has seen the show several times. His mom being Pauletta Washington, of course, and that he's got notes from her and from his dad. And I was like, watching the show, I can see why they would give him notes. And what I mean is no shade. He was great. But what I recognize is he has not had formal training, and you can tell, you know what I mean? Like it's about the things that we learn about mechanics and the technical things that you learn about breathing and stuff like that. As I'm watching him, I was like, he's got pure natural raw talent, obviously. I mean, duh. But there is a finessing that I think we will continue to see coming, especially, again, he's in a Broadway theater. That's a lot of pressure.
Right.
But Sam Jackson was so amazing. Like, and his character, of course, is like he's a paternal figure in the show, but he plays that role very well, I think, in terms of how he moves in the cast, because you could see he was the one who's like, I'm going to energize this scene. I'm going to push some life into it. So when the scene started to dip, Sam would pull it back up, and it was amazing. And there was another brother, and I'm going to see if I can try and find his name, because he was amazing.
I know you're talking about. I do not know his name, but I know you're talking about.
He plays the other brother.
Yeah.
I gotta find his name, because that man was so good that literally I gotta find his name. You keep talking. I'm gonna look this brother's name up, because he was amazing.
I was about to ask you another question. How was the young lady from a young lady? I say like she's children. The young lady from Orange is the New Black. I always forget her name. Danielle Brooks. Danielle Brooks was actually not in the show when I saw it. She had COVID, so there was an understudy on for her. And I was fine with that. My main thing was I want to see Sam, because I've never had the privilege of seeing him perform in theater. Like, I love his cinematic work, obviously, but Sam is a thespian. He's a trained actor, so I love being able to see him in his element. And brief shit you should know. For those who don't know, everybody thinks of Sam Jackson as like this great film megastar, but Sam Jackson had a very storied Broadway career. While he was trying to the craziness of it, while he was trying to kick drugs in the 1980s, he was an originator of several of the Negro Ensemble Company works, as well as we talked about Soldier's Play, and a lot of August Wilson's work. He did a whole bunch of it on Broadway. Yeah.
And
What's the brother's name?
Yes, you should know. He's dope. And what's interesting, you were mentioning how he was, struggling as a drug addict. I think I read somewhere, I think this was Sam. I hope I'm not attributing it to the wrong person, but how like his drug habit was so intense at one point, but the one thing he always managed to do was perform. He was like, I would go and be drugged up all day, but I would get on stage and perform without question.
Like literally, that was the one that was like you said. He was like he hit the story on a strangely enough Stephen A. Smith's not shortly lived talk show. Stephen A. Smith asked a softball question about doing theater, and Sam went into the whole thing about literally like being locked in his basement all day smoking crack, and then he'd leave, go do a show. In between the scenes, he'd do drugs. Be on stage, go back home and smoke more drugs. And it's like Stephen A. Smith was like, "What the hell?" He was not expecting that.
But as we talk about like muscle memory of an actor, right? Like when we talk about that, and that was what I was thinking as I was watching the show, which was Sam has that muscle memory that when you've been doing theater for long enough, you just know, and you honestly, you almost sometimes it's an out of body experience. You don't even feel like you're in your own body. Right. And that was what I was missing from John David, that just sense of command of the room. He was really great. And it was, he had the right energy for playing that character. Cause Boy Willie is first of all, it's been played by so many greats, right?
Sam Jackson played it originally on Broadway.
Sam Jackson played it. Charles S. Dutton played it. So it's been played by some really some serious heavyweights. And so he brings a great youthful energy to it. Very charismatic. You can see how he's able to, get over on folks, but just a little bit of that technical stuff that I think, and I think it'll come in time. The show's running for like 16 weeks, so he'll probably get there.
I love when our show turns into Inside the Actor Studio for a second. Exactly. All the non-actors like, what's happening now?
Well, no, because y'all need to support Black theater, man. Like, go see it all. I had one other thing I wanted to ask you before we, not that we have to jump out of here right quick, but Russell Wilson.
The quarterback.
Talk about this. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Wait, hold on. Tell me.
You know what it is?
You did the black woman voice. You like.
Sports.
You did Russell Wilson. I'm like, what'd he do?
No, I'm sorry. You're right. Let me pull my black woman. Let me tone down my black woman.
I was like, he in trouble. What'd he do, y'all?
He's not in trouble. I'm tired of people picking on him. Is what it is.
Okay.
So I know you know about this. From Future to Charlemagne, who we've said we no longer call him the guy, to
Charlemagne, the Negro in the corner.
What's your boy's name? Channing Crowder, Fred Taylor, Ryan Clark. All of these folks calling Russell Wilson lame, corny, et cetera, just going in on this dude, basically because he's a family man and very outwardly open about his Christianity. So I'm just curious to know what your thoughts are about all of this as a dude in the room.
This is taken from a brother who's been accused of talking white for most of his life, which is neither here nor there. Who cares? As I say, neither here nor there. But
touche, my friend.
Listen, I will say, I don't consider myself a Russell Wilson fan or hater. I think he's fine. I think brother handles the community. He's a good team leader and stuff like that. I do think once in a while he does come off corny, which to me, but like a lot of dudes come off corny to me, but I think he's authentic and his heart is in the right place. And black people come in different personalities, y'all. So we all don't have to and the funny thing is, and here's the best thing, and the reason that I think to take a total sidestep, why Atlanta is such a genius show is because it's one of the first shows I've ever watched where we get to see the hood and black people in its full and developed the diaspora of black people.
You can grow up in the hood and still be a nerdy.
So dude like me can grow up in East Side Detroit as well as the really hood DMX dude can grow up on East Side Detroit, and we existed in the same neighborhood, and in a lot of cases we're friends. So my thing is like, yo, he's great husband by all accounts, great father. Leader of a football team. His football team's having a little bit of problems right now, but brothers won a ring before. So my thing is like, yo, there's way bigger fish to fry than, he's corny. Man, shut the hell up, man. Worry about something else.
What's funny, I'm catching up on all of my TV watching since I've been traveling. So I finally caught up, I think, on the most recent episode of Abbott Elementary. I've been watching them back to back. And there's an episode where the character Jacob, he's the young white guy in the show, where long story short, he finds out he's corny. Like everybody's been calling him corny. He finds out he's corny. And Quinta Brunson character says to him, it's okay to be corny. I'm corny too, but you're a different kind of corny, right? and it made me laugh because what's interesting, I love the way in which you lay that out, which is, I say this all the time, I'm a very corny person. I know that about myself. I'm very silly. My sense of, like, people who don't know me are often surprised to know how silly and goofy I really am, because I'm like, I'm really silly, right? I'm corny. But to your point, that doesn't necessarily, I think the issue is equating corny to lame and equating corny to bad and negative, right? And more specifically, equating being a family person, being somebody who's solid and positive and just different from you as being corny is also, to me, corny.
Right.
It's so silly. It's
but also
all these grown men sitting around talking about another grown man.
Yeah, right. And how y'all not corny?
Right.
But my thing, like, I remember this is a long time ago. Me and you were on the phone once, and I was driving somewhere. Somebody like was walking across the street and just stopped. And I barked my horn, and dude had some tough stuff to say, and I immediately went into East Side Detroit. Yo, man, like you know, and you're like, Jamal, and then you talk. Like he said, once in a while I forget Jamal is from East Side Detroit. Yeah. So my thing is like nobody's one thing, and that doesn't mean. Nope. So you get this, and this happens for inside the Black community and outside the Black community. People, they. I remember as an actor a lot, I used to get the whole thing of like, you know, I don't know if you play this harder character, and I'm like,
right.
Just because I'm not robbing you right now, brother, doesn't mean.
I always you describe that incident. I always go back. Our good friend Leslie Elliott. Shout out to Les. I will never forget coming out to LA when you and Nicole was still out in LA, and I was riding around you and Leslie. Y'all told me this story about basically the same type of thing where this guy kind of sped out in front of y'all and was talking crazy or whatever, and then y'all pulled up next to him, and then y'all like, okay, say what?
Yeah. All that shit you was talking? Come on, bro. What's up? Like, it gets real.
I was like, yeah. I always forget my sweet friend, my kind friend, who's like, he's a crotchety old man, but he's very sweet and kind. But I'm like, oh, but he is from Detroit. And the East Side, let's be very clear.
Yeah, man. Can I something that worried me today in the news? This is weird. It feels like we always get into our heavy topics first.
Like,
and I saved it to the end.
Oh, look at that.
Ron DeSantis. So Ron DeSantis, for those who don't know, is a horrible governor of Florida. Pure idiot. He is a wannabe Trump on steroids.
I was gonna say Trump in training number 2. Yeah.
So let me read the article here, which I'm reading off of NPR. Ron DeSantis petty voter fraud arrest likened to Jim Crow as police body cam goes viral. So in short, Ron DeSantis has been sending out warrants around Florida for people who have voted, and they were not registered to vote. Now, most of these people who have voted had no idea. They were told by voter registrants that they were fine to vote. They vote. So for those who don't know the voter registration process, you register to vote, and sometimes you may even get a registration card, and then they may find out later that you are not eligible to vote. Now, in Florida, the rules of voting are super, super, super murky because of how they've changed it about ex-felons and ex-cons. It's been going in and out. So the rules have changed, like literally, I think they said 6 times over the last 10 years.
Yeah, because I was going to say, I thought that they had removed the restriction around if you were a felon, you couldn't vote there specifically.
And that's the thing. That's that provision specifically has been changed like 3 times in the last 5 years.
Of course it has.
So people have gone out to vote. I wonder
why.
Right. So people would go out to vote thinking they've been told, that literally a lot of these stories where people who are like, yeah, I thought I couldn't vote. When I went to register to vote to see if I could, they're like, oh yeah, you can vote. I went and voted, and now the police, and this is not the police's fault, the police are being told to go pick these people up on a warrant for voter fraud. And it's and these videos have been going viral all over the place with the main purpose of stopping people, brown and black people, from voting in Florida.
Registering.
That's the whole point. So the point is not to say break. It's to stop. It's to make people who may have had a criminal background or some type of shadiness in the past
say, I'm not even going to try because I don't want to get arrested.
Because they want to go to jail.
I don't want to run the risk.
So I usually save it for Clarence Thomas, but I'll save it for Ron DeSantis. Fuck you, Ron DeSantis. And people, go ahead and please, we'll put the information in our in the notes of the show. Register to vote. Find out if you are eligible to register to vote. There's several websites that can help you find this out. But do not be deterred from exercising your rights because Ron DeSantis is a dick. Period.
Oh my God, that's awful. And if you're still in Florida, come on. I mean, I would say come on to Texas, but 6-1. 6-1. All right, homie. Well, what were you about to say?
Oh, no, I was just shit on Ron DeSantis more. That's all.
Right. Well, I guess we should go ahead and wrap up, but we can stick around for a few more minutes for the bonus content. But you have it. Oh, right. Wait a minute. We can't wrap up. We got For the Culture.
Oh, For the Culture. Time out. Ladies and gentlemen, Lee George is back. Our For the Culture resident, my little brother and resident asshole. He's gonna cut that out. He always does. So, what you got a For the Culture for today? For the Culture. For the Culture. For the Culture. For the Culture. For the Culture.
I do.
The look was like.
No, I do. I actually know exactly what I wanted For the Culture to be. I just got to find the right name of it. I want to make sure that I don't read the wrong name. So my For the Culture for this week is there is a new show that premiered, or a film. No, it's a series. Sorry, that premiered on the OWN network last night, Saturday, October 22nd. We're recording on the 23rd. And the new show, which just look now, I can't find the thing.
You're such an old lady right now.
I'm such an old lady, y'all.
Lord,
I was like, stop carousel, stop changing. The name of the show is The Hair Tales. Thank you, The Hair Tales. It's a new series that is appearing on the OWN network. I'm going to read really quickly.
I did see this. I saw that. Yeah.
Hair Tales is a new docuseries about Black women, beauty, and identity through the distinctive lens of Black hair. From executive producers Tracy Ellis Ross and Michaela Angela Davis, The Hair Tales will lead the audience through a revelatory journey of connecting the personal tales of phenomenal Black women to broader societal and historic themes. So there's a lot happening here. There's stories from Oprah Winfrey, obviously Issa Rae, Chloe Bailey, Congresswoman Ayanna Pressley, Masai Martin, and some other folks. So definitely check that out. You know, our hair is obviously a very political, personal, spiritual, controversial, empowering thing. And it has, interestingly enough, been discussed by everybody but us to ad nauseum. So I'm interested to see how our hair is portrayed in a loving and thoughtful way. So go check out Hair Tales on OWN network. It streamed live on Saturday, but I think you may be able to see repeat performances either on the network or on their streaming platform. So go check out Hair Tales. Okay, well, Jamal, I guess you look like you want to say something before we get out of here.
Yeah, my family is knocking on the damn door. I'm doing a podcast.
We're trying to wrap up.
On the damn door. Jesus
Tell them to come in for the bonus content.
I know. Come in for the bonus content. Now.
All right. We're going to sign off, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for coming and listening to us this week. Also want to say thank you for your patience with our video version of the show. We have, again, Khalilah's been traveling. So we hit our maximum. You don't care about our technical reasons. We have technical difficulties. But video should begin to start being posted this week. So October 24th. So by the time you hear this, hopefully videos will be posted. So again, you can hear our show on all of your favorite podcast streaming platforms. You'll be able to see the video version of this show, which has extended content with Jamal and myself on our YouTube channel at Chief Disruptor Productions. So because I'm tongue twisted and struggling now, we should probably go ahead and log off here. So Jamal, say goodbye to the people.
Goodbye to the people.
Thanks for coming out, y'all. Good night. Peace.
Hold on one second. Is there somebody out there? I'm sure this is knocking, boom, 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 like the damn police.
It's either your daughter or your child.
It's my daughter or my child.
All right. We're here for the bonus extended content. I'm saying that, Jamal, the lighting is so bad in this hotel. I hope we'll be able to use this video footage.
I mean, you do look like ethereal, like you're floating.
Well, listen, the good thing is, the benefit is I didn't have to do my makeup today because I was like, y'all can't see it anyway.
Y'all can't see it. We all grainy and fuzzy.
Natural. I put on some Carmex for y'all. That was about as much as I can handle.
Carmex is a very well needed product.
Carmex or Carmex?
It's Carmex, right? Carmex? What is it? Carmex?
Carmex is the lip ointment, and Carmax is the people who sells you who will sell you a car.
Carmax, potato to potato.
6 of 1.
My family got me all messed up. Shit. Are we starting?
What you got?
Oh shit.
Yeah. What's going on?
Are we recording? Oh shit. All right. Hey, how y'all doing? What's up? I am just a little bit. Tipsy.
See, y'all, this is what happened.
Okay, I got a few things. I got a few proclamations to make.
I'm glad because I have nothing.
Oh, good. I have a few things I need to just bitch about. This is gonna become Jamal bitches, Uncle Jamal bitches.
Jamal's bitching hour.
Number one, I'm gonna need all the black women in my life to stop sending me pictures.
No, you.
Everybody knows he's buff.
Wait. You got to go back because you froze right as you were saying something interesting.
All right, cool.
Okay, now that Jamal's figured out his internet issues. Okay, so I was riveted by what you were about to say. What were you about to say?
Okay, so
black women what?
Black women, I got to be careful now, right? Black women what?
I know, right? Look.
I am going to need the black woman in my life to stop sending me pictures of Jonathan Majors in Creed 3. I get it. Brother's buff. He's one of my favorite actors too. But when I look at that picture, I don't see the same thing you see. Kay, you're one of the guilty people. My wife is one of the guilty people.
I haven't sent it to you.
Time out. No, it was a group text, and you put me in. You could have sent this separately to Kat Nicole.
No. I didn't send a group text. I posted him on Facebook, and this is why I know I didn't text it to you because this was okay. Let me just back up. So first of all, on behalf of all the black women in your life, I'm not gonna even apologize because that man is fine as all get out. That should be against the law, like legit. I want to go on record as saying I shouldn't even say I pride myself. Generally, as a rule of thumb, when I find men attractive, I'm not somebody who salivates over men. Like I'm like, oh, he's attractive, he's good looking. I don't usually do that thirsty woman dropping my tongue on the floor type of thing. Howsoever, I have had a thing for Jonathan Majors from jump. He's just part of it is his energy. The way he moves is just so cool, right? He's got a good vibe, right? But when he's obviously been prepping or was prepping for Creed 3, and if you haven't seen the trailer, go see the trailer.
The trailer's amazing. It's really so well done.
Dope. And you're right, it basically is Apollo Creed and Mr. T. That definitely is.
They mashed up. It's a mashup of Apollo Creed, Rocky 4, and Rocky 3. It's Mr. T, Drago, and Apollo Creed all in one movie.
And the Russian. Yeah. So all of that to say, so when it came out, I was like, and also I should say, not that you asked me for this, I'm not someone who typically is attracted to men who are like super, super muscular. Like brother can be fine, but when they're super jacked, that's generally not my thing.
Right.
Jonathan Majors got all the muscles in all the right places. I think it was Men's Health. When that magazine cover came out, I was like, my Lord. Again, I'm somebody who doesn't normally comment on men out loud publicly. I went to posting on my Facebook page. I was like, my Lord, this man.
Let me just say, I'm somebody who subscribes to Men's Health. You know, it has good workouts and stuff in it. I did not realize how much I'd be seeing that picture. Once I was like, morning I was like, Jonathan Majors and Creed, that's dope. And then people are like, hey, you seen it? Oh my God, please. So
no, I wouldn't do that to. I wouldn't do that to the men in my life because honestly, when we were, but you know what? This is payback from when you were talking about Nia Long the other day when we were talking about Nia Long and that purple lingerie. This is how we feel about him. We're like, you and them shorts, but I think I even sent my cousin, she posted it on my Facebook page, and the meme I sent back was, my edges are already sweating. I was like, I'm already sweating on my edges. Yeah.
All right.
We approve, Jonathan Majors. We approve.
So other things other things to bitch about. I'm officially retired from taking pictures of my wife or taking pictures of any woman ever. Okay.
No, you're not. First of all, your daughter's 12. That's your.
Okay, I'm 100% retired. I'm out the game. Ladies, okay, so I've had this happen to me so many times. It's countless times where I am either at home or at some place, somebody needs a picture taken. They ask me to take a picture. And if it's a woman asks me to take a picture, I take the picture, they look the picture.
Because you don't do it right.
And there's immediate disappointment. I do not know how to take, I am not a photographer.
You hold it up high at a good angle. You want to make sure there's light behind the person.
A good angle is so subjective. What is it? Is there a definition of good angle?
What's so funny is, it's so just for everybody's edification, the reason Jamal is bringing this up is his wife loves to we like to do fashion shows. God. And I normally am the photographer, either me or either her daughter in India, or I take the pictures because we know what she's looking for. When we allow Jamal to do it, it's like heads might be cut off, body parts to the left.
That is a lie.
Snap pictures with people's eyes closed. No, I'm joking. You're not that bad. You're not that bad.
I literally take 40 of them and then just choose. And they look at me like they're disgusting.
But what's funny is that the specific pictures that you took that Nicole was harassing you about, I literally stood on the steps and just hit the button. Like, I didn't even try and style. I just literally just kept hitting the button. I just did that for like a minute. And I got perfect pictures.
Dude, I've brought women together in disgust over my pictures. Like, we'd be at a restaurant and they're like, "Oh, you want to take the picture? Can you take the picture for me?" I'm like, "Cool, I'll take the picture." Them and my wife look at it. They don't know each other. Like, this Negro can't take a damn.
So just so y'all know, that is yet another reason I handle the marketing for this.
Yeah, I'm just the talent. Okay, I got two more things.
Okay.
I've done a new thing whenever I'm annoyed now. Whenever I'm annoyed with my wife and she's getting on my nerves and we're in public, I've decided whenever we're in a white area and I'm annoyed and we're in public, I'm just going to scream out, "All lives matter." Just to make white people, first make her uncomfortable, and then see how many white people are like, "Yeah!" It's just a weird thing.
Make her uncomfortable. You might get fought in public. Because I'm sitting here looking at you like, I drive friends for less.
I want to do it as a social experiment. Just scream "All lives matter" and see if everybody look around.
Did you say that? Okay, because I'm not even entertaining this part of the conversation. I'm moving on. Did you say that? Because some years ago,
you screamed "All lives matter" in a white area? But go ahead, I'm sorry.
Huh? No. Okay. It was the social experiment part that you said. Some years ago, I was in New York and I was walking. It was a beautiful spring day. I'm walking in New York in Harlem. I don't even know why I was on the street that I was on, because it wasn't a street I normally frequented. So I'm walking and this guy comes up to me. He was like, "Hey," and he starts talking to me like he knows me. So here's the thing about me, ladies and gentlemen. I meet a lot of people. And I'm terrible at remembering names. So honestly, but I usually remember faces, and it may take me a second, but I typically remember faces, and then I can put context to how I know somebody. But I usually need a second to talk to somebody. So he comes up to me, he's like, "Hey." So I'm assuming, especially because at that point I worked at the Apollo, and in Harlem is one of those communities where everybody has known everybody for forever. So once you get there, when people start acknowledging you, what you can't do is act like you don't know them on the street. So he's like, "Hey," and I was all like, "Hi," because again, I don't know if I know this. So we continue to talk or whatever. Long story short, he's like, "Oh, hey," he asked me out on a date. We go on a date. Y'all, on this day, he's like, "Oh."
Can I pause? You still didn't know who he was even when y'all was on a date?
No. I didn't. Oh, yeah, no, I didn't. Before we went out on a date, I agreed to go on a date. I found him charming and interesting on the street, but I still was like, I don't remember him. So we get on the date, and he tells me he approached me as a social experiment to see if he would be able to go on a date with me. He didn't know me, and I didn't know him. Wow. He was a random guy off the street. But the fun, right.
That's borderline creepy. That's
you know, I never went out with him ever. Like, literally, I was like, "Okay, can we get the check?"
Yeah. Why would he admit to it? Like, I would have no. What you?
because crazy weird people. It's not interesting if people don't know they're being crazy and weird. So yeah. But when you said social experiment, that was what what that brought to mind for me. Okay, what else you got to bitch about before we get out?
Okay, and this is for some reason been on my mind a lot, just because I'm being bombarded with advertisements. So I'm going to ask this question. I don't think I'm going to do it when I ask this question. Should I know Taylor Swift's music? Is this a thing should this exist in my world? I've been apparently a new album dropped.
I'm struggling to even understand your question.
Do you know a Taylor Swift song?
I know several Taylor Swift songs.
But honestly, I cannot identify.
But I don't know. But let me be very clear. I don't know anything present day. And most of the things that I do know, I know against my will.
Oh,
Like I
so
know them because
there,
I've heard them on movies, TV shows, and I won't say that I haven't liked some of her songs. Like they're catchy, right? They're earworms. There are some, but as a general rule, I'm first of all, I've never bought a Taylor Swift album. I never
well, I
probably
would
will.
assume, of course, that no,
Right.
never ever. So
Yeah. So all of that to say, I think your question is, as a audiophile, are you, or not even an audiophile, but as someone who loves music, are you missing something?
well,
Right. That's what you're
I guess
asking
some.
me.
I'm like, Dave Kravitz, our neighborhood
Right.
music guy. He's even said that
Yeah.
there's a good Taylor Swift album from way back, and I was like, really? There is? Like, I just assumed
I
it was
mean,
bubblegum bullshit music, but apparently,
most of it
like,
is. Most of it is. I mean, let's be real. I also think she gets a lot of acknowledgement for being this deep writer, and I'm like, there are some folks writing way
I
more
just heard that
interesting
she
things.
just bitches about her. This is weird that we're talking about Taylor Swift. I'm sorry I brought this, but I just think of it in the vein of like I still think she has more testosterone than Drake's music. Just on the record,
So
I
awful.
got to shit on Drake. But
Yeah, it feels like you know what my issue is? I don't have any issue with people. I think artists typically reflect on their lives, right, in their work. So
right.
I have no problem with people, discussing their love life. But I'm like, every single album is this is what happened with the dudes who I just broke up with, and it just gets to be.
I mean,
First of all, it's boring. It's
it's
not creative. It's
it's
not. Go ahead.
it's Eminem and his mom.
It's it's worse than that because at least Eminem eventually stopped talking about her,
Right.
right? Like eventually. But it's like every time this girl drops an album, and I will say I'm not one of those people who's like, first of all, I don't like the slut shaming when people are like, she slept with so many men. So I mean,
So what's
so what?
what?
So
Yeah.
I mean,
Free
Adam
yourself.
Levine, anybody? We're gonna talk about male rock stars. So that to me is irrelevant. But I do think this thing of essentially laying your diary out for the whole world to see, and that's fine if that's what you want to do, but these men didn't sign up for that. So it's like every single relationship is gonna be dissected. I would be scared to have a relationship with her.
Yeah, no, damn, like, nope, I'm not gonna be on a song.
Like,
No,
I would literally be like, you got to sign this NDA and we're going to date.
can't have you talking about he didn't pick up the bill or some shit like that.
I mean,
All right,
like I said, I do find her stuff poppy and interesting. I mean, fun, but
okay, yeah, okay.
I'm sorry, you got something else.
Last thing, and this is slightly funny, but not really. Pay attention to your children, and I say this in the sense of it. This is a giant thing, but like the individuals that your children become are a result of what you've put into them. Not everything. Some of them have they will have their distinct personalities, of course, but you don't get to complain about your kids. You don't get to complain about or blame it on other things. Pay attention to your kids. Don't. This is a very weird thing. I've started to see people. This happened in my years as a teacher and even as dealing with other people in my life who had made the decision to have children and then find that decision, as if it's not a waste. I won't say waste of time, but a hindrance to their lives, a burden, right? And once you bring a child into the world, which is I consider one of the most important things that a human being can do. If you bring a child into the world, because you've now put yourself in a huge responsibility.
Yeah, you created another person.
And you're responsible for building that person into the best person you can be. And now that's not to say that if they fail in life, that's your fault, or if whatever they do in life is your fault, but it is upon you to do the absolute best you can, no matter what. I think this is a weird editorial on my part, but I keep seeing. I've seen it as a teacher, and I keep seeing it over and over again, where people are like, they don't take responsibility for the children that they've helped build, and build your children better.
I mean, the foundation that parents lay for their kids, like you said, everybody comes into this world with their own innate personality, gifts, who they are. All of that is innate, right? But environment absolutely can dictate whether or not someone succeeds, fails, is set up for success, for lack of a better way of saying it. And that to me is what I think parents are supposed to do, which is as you were saying, every decision I make as an adult is my decision, but my parents have laid the foundation enough to where I was solid when I left their house, right? I took to the point we were making earlier on the show where I was saying I was very insulated from peer pressure because my parents had instilled in me enough of a sense of self that I didn't need to look outside of myself. And if you're not the parent who is doing that, and it's very hard to do that if you're not being attentive, if you're not tuned in. So you're 1,000% right. I think a lot of times people have children as accessories and don't realize it's work. And I know it's hard work, but this is what you signed up for. So,
and not that anybody will at me because nobody ever adds me. Good, thank you. 2 things I want to add. Number 1, this is not a race thing. And number 2, the most important thing to me, this is not a money thing. You're listening to 2 people who grew up in poor households, and my parents and her, and I can speak for Miss Sandra and Miss Cynthia French, and I can attest to that they invested so much in us when they did not have all of the resources that other people have. This is not a money thing. This is a time and just taking time out to make sure your children have the most that you possibly can give them.
Yeah. And I'll go a step further and say I think a lot of times when kids start reaching puberty and they become teenagers, that's when parents start pulling back. That's the last thing you should do. You should be just right there in there. Yep, lean in, because as soon as they leave the house, it becomes that much more challenging to influence them and impart things on them. And that's really when they're making serious decisions that will potentially impact their lives for the rest of their lives, So, I mean, we're of the same mind here. Like, if you're going to be a parent, be a parent.
Right. And keyword you said, be a parent. Don't be their friend. Don't be their friend.
Yep.
Be their parent. Be their parent.
I will tell you, I didn't become friends with my mother until I was in my 40s.
Right.
And even then, it's a certain kind of friendship. Like, she's still my mama.
Yeah. My mama still popped the hell out of me. Still.
Yep. I know not to take certain tones. I know when to pull back.
You better get your ass whooped real quick.
All right. Well, it was good chatting with you today, friend. Hopefully next week we'll be in the same space. Who knows?
Who knows? Where's Waldo? Where's Khalilah, ladies and gentlemen?
Honest to God, I genuinely, truly don't know. I don't even remember where I'm going next week. I think next week is San Francisco.
She's on a world tour with Muhammad, my man.
I know. I feel like Carmen Sandiego. Look at you.
That's Tribe Called Quest.
Tribe. All right, friend. We'll say goodbye to the people.
Goodbye to the people.
Thanks for tuning in, y'all. Good night. I know, right? Peace out, y'all. See y'all next week. Whatever We Want with J and K is produced by Chief Disruptor Productions, with post-production support by Lee George. To see the video version of this episode of Whatever We Want with exclusive extended content, be sure to subscribe to @Chief Disruptor Productions on YouTube. Stay up to date when we post new content by subscribing to the show on Apple Podcast, Google Podcast, Spotify, Pandora, and most podcast streaming platforms. And don't forget to follow us on Instagram and Facebook @Chief Disruptor Productions and share your recommendations for viewer topics. See y'all next week. Peace.